right, you said we're on number Kaf Gimel?
Yeah.
Yeah, here it is.
I just did a little chazara before we got on the phone.
Very good. Okay, well let's start reading at number Kaf Gimel, and let me get this up here. Number Kaf Gimel in the Shar Tanta. So my pencil. He says, "V'hine adayim be'elach ba'oros lo nizgala b'chem b'chinas kli klal." So the light's coming out of the ears of Ak. So ha'elach ha'oros ha'yotzach ha'midachaznayim. Shehem b'chinas hatamim el yonim, which would be the top part. Lo nizgala b'chem b'chinas kelim k'derech sheyesh b'kol sfira. So a lot of things in that sentence. You don't see in them an aspect of Kalim like you find in every other Sphira. So they are tremendously high. They're apparently in Ma'ulim and Ma'od Mikadei from the ability to be able to show their Kalim. So this is telling you something about Kalim.
Right.
That Kalim have to be in a lower place or a more physical place. Kavishi is bar b'smuch. They're coming down the sides of the face, and as a result of that, they can't come together. So this concept of Batisha is going to be seen elsewhere. So we say Kaf Dalet. He said Gamda ki eses spheros elu yatsa mukusharos, batakli his kastros. Lo nikr bechem rak shakulam heim bebechinas os hey. So he said, so let's see what he means by that. He means they're tied together and so are bundled up in such a way that lo nikr bechem, the only thing you could see about them is this letter hey. So this is a very, very deep place. The first appearance that we see that we can actually recognize outside of Ak is this letter hey. So we understand that light has 10 spheros in it. You can't see them. There is no separation in them that we can recognize. They don't have any form. All of what you could see about them, who bezos shehem ketsuras hey. Now he mentioned the way his language was shaykh bechem tsura. There is a tsura of a hey, but I think he means an individual surah. Let's go on. Let's see a little bit more.
Right.
So he calls hey kashetachavik and ozen. So the gematria of the word ozen is 58. So he said, "Ki os hey kashem ozen will produce the minion of Sag, which is one of the names of the new one."
We said before that in the by Chaf Aleph he said that that Sag ozen is when it's missing the hey.
Okay, so this is he's filling it in here. So basically, it's an ozen plus a hey that's coming out. So the hay itself is an aspect where you can find the 10 spheros that are inside of it that are a part of the letter hay. For Shoshim, hey partsufim erik anpen. So Abba ve'ima, the zun. These are the names of the 5 partsufim. So in other words, you have a hay, and he's saying that the first thing that happens with the hay is that what the hay represents is there are going to be 5 systems of light, but it doesn't tell you what's in the systems yet. Raki Yosem Hey Partsufim Elu Levad, that's all we know about them, is there are going to be 5 systems. Hagam Sheba'oros Chaznayim Lochem Izgalim Eses Spheres Nefrados. In other words, ultimately completely tied together. But you could see from this light that the light is actually composed of this letter hey. The Metzias Oz Hey Shemispara Chamesh Merames Chamisha Partsufim Shehem Erik Anpin Ava Ve'ima Zer Anpin Vanuk. Sheila Partsufim Kodalim as a spheros. Each one of these are going to have 10 spheros. So now that you see that there are 5 here, it hints to the 10. Ki erech ariach hu keser va'abba v'imach him chochma b'bina v'zer ant ben hem chagat nai v'nok hi amalchus. So you see we're using the word chagat nai now to understand the body, and that is the body, and then the legs, let's say, so to speak, and the 3 different separate entities. Ak bechinas esses spheros, but in looking inside of them, though, bepratos adayim lo nisgala ba'oras hagavohim, you still can't see in these high levels bechina of an ozen. You can't see.
They're not revealed on a like a individual level, but as general terms, I guess, as opposed to the 5 as the 5 partsufim, they are niskala.
You could see the 5 partsufim. That's what he says.
But individually,
in each partsuf,
you can't.
Right, you can't see the 10 spheros in each partsuf. So that's the first thing. He wants to say the panemius is that comes first is the partsuf. Even this hay is not recognizable. It's not separated one thing from another. In other words, there's not 5 parts of the hay. There's one hay. Now he adds in the concept of dalad vav, of the dalad with a vav. And misparim eser. Now, if you look at it that way, then they come to a count of 10. The horas al hiyusam eser in the klala b'hei, to let you know that in the hay itself there's 10 in it. Keniska the el v'chadaim kulanik roim os hay levad, but still they're only called by the name os hay. Os hay sheyatzach min ha'ozen the gan shedechlalu bo kol ha'chamisha partzufim hanau. We said that before. But they don't come out. He's explaining just out a little bit better. They don't come out as individual 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. Eliyatza or echa belvad is just one light. The light is in the form of a hay. Just imagine in your mind that there's a hay coming out of your ear. Shuhu os hay achas shibach kolulim kol chachamisha or it's one hay. It has within him all of these 5 lights we're going to do, which are the partsufim. Amnon, os he ola kaminyan chamesh. Maram is ala chamisha partzuva niskarim, which he said before. Leficha begam shteha osios he. So now these 2 letters hey. There's one on the right, I guess one on the left. Shema orcha maki for orcha pinimi. No, he says it differently. That they refer that there's 2 different lights within it. One of these lights is called an or makif. Later maybe we'll talk about it here. I don't know. Orcha pinimi. So these lights are yours.
You said before that the one ear is makif and one is panimi, right? I think the right one is panimi, the left one is makif.
Okay, let's see what he says here now. Because I thought we said was going to go into that, but he didn't say that. He said Chaim or hamakif or panimi yotzim min hachaznaim. That comes out from the ears. Ramazim l'chamesha partzufim. That talks about the 5 partzufim. Haim enem b'cholokim, not divided up. That all like on one bound up all together inside that hay, now, like we said, shows hay atzmam ramazim ba spheros. Now it is that in fact that you could see 10 spheros in there. Shahare os hay it's divided into 2 different parts. That's that part. Who owes dalad, who owes vav, like that, and it looks like this. Now, there are other combinations of this besides these 2, but these are the 2. One's a dalad and a vav, which is a gematria 10. Ve'oso is dalad hey, so olim yachad yachdav lemisbar eser. Both in Shekala eser sefiras nechlala ba'os hey said all the 10 are inside of the hay. Hey mitzad tzuras ha'os atzmo shuhu ola eser, cannot we said. Hey mitzad gematria shal ha'os Shuhu Keneged Chamisha Partsufim and Niskarim, so that you have these 2 things going on at the same time. You have a hay which represents 5, and then you have the hay which represents a dal and the vav, which is 10. Now, these are 2 different things that we could talk about. Number Kaf Zion, he goes on and he says like this: Ve'lo eses virus bohu or penimi meruchok mechamakiv shulu herche gadol. This is what you were saying. So he says that these two lights, one coming from the left ear, one coming from the right ear, I think is what he wants to say, they're coming out and they're really very deeply separated. The reason why if they were closer together, you wouldn't be able to reach it, to receive it at all. The Hiyoski or Bohu or Penimi or Makim Meruchokim says, so the fact that there are distance, Zemizet Herka Godol, Ki Elu Yatsa Ma'ozen Smolis, Ve'elu Ma'ozen Yomonis, V'chasiva ki im koya mekuravim yosu lo koya yochola the chatachtoinin the kabbalah oras ha'elu klal, that would be too much light for the lower worlds to be able to receive it. What we're trying to do is bring the light down onto us, into the lower possible world.
Right. We found this a lot. That like there's certain things that if we wouldn't separate it or divide it or minimize it, it would be too much.
Okay. Well, that's what he said, something like that. So let's see what he says in the Tiv as we keep going on. As a Sevirus and Iskaro, so these 10 Sevirus that we're mentioning here, Chaim, Eser, let's get back, Eser, Oros, Amakifim, Hayotzim, Ma'ozen, Yamid, V'chasara, Oros, Penimim, Hayotzim, Ma'ozen, Small, Lo choyu yotzim or benimiv or makiv shalachem k'shehem karovim zebezeh. They're on the two sides of the head. Ela yitziyasem choisechem b'merchak zemezeh. V'chatam shehem yatzav ruchakim zebezeh hu mishum sha'akli, which is a note. Sha'akli notzer al yidei sha'oros ha'makivim v'chapenivim karovim zebezeh. The kli is actually formed or created as a result of the fact that the two lights come together. Miskarvim zebezeh, mavachim zebezeh, and they strike each other, produces sparks. Kamoshi is bar lokamon, we'll talk about it more. Since they're tremendously powerful lights, and it's not something that we could ever reach or appreciate. So also that so therefore they're not brought next to each other. And Kalim would come out for them. Now there probably is a lot more explanation that we can understand why the Kalim themselves are not able, if I say produces a Kali, why that's not capable of handling the light. That's a problem. They think the light is too strong and the Kli can't handle it. Number Kaf Ches. We have something else comes out of this. He says, Hu al yedech bakar betisha shnei oros elu maki v'benimi yachad zebezeh v'ben shnechem know the havayas kalim. So we're just going to say it out again. Inyan havayas v'choledes hakelim na'asa al yedech nitzutzos hayotzim b'fu'ulas ha'kor, which happens as a result of that ha'kor v'chabatisha shal ha'or maki v'penimi zebezeh v'chein keshehem b'vachim zeh b'zeh b'noided ha'kli b'bein shenehem. No, so he goes down with Kaf Tes v'lefi shekan be'eluch bohu amuruchachim kenizka. So now we have this phase that they're coming out from a distance. Below O, not only that, ela shachafila b'siyim is pashtusam b'shivulas asakan, when they get down to the fulcrum of the beard, down at the bottom of the chin, lo nischavrach yachad the gamri kenizka, they still don't meet completely. So there remain just light shining out of the ears of Ak, and they have no Kalim. Gamoshin is Voila Kamon and Sharakudim. Later on, we'll get to that more in the next Shar. So Gavavilas Akalin the Azach Yedekapati Shakabishal or Hamaki for Benidis and Bazam. Ava Baoras Aznaim Yadsach Baoras and Bakifa Baminimim Kishahim Rachokim Bachokim Zabazam. Shaharaya or Hamakiv Yatsach of Itzad Yamin, Shalapanim, or Hapnimi Yatsav Itzad the small Shalapanim. Vavka Shahem Mischavrim, and even that we see that they're joined together, Lamata, they go down to the chin, but Bishvolas Azakan, Lochoya Bechem Chibur Gomor, but they never really join together. Mamela ein benechem betisha, so they're never going to strike each other. V'lechein lo choya bechem bechinas kli. V'hirad kan v'ir harav as bechinas hatamim v'alyonim shehem achelok ha'elyon sheba bechinas. This is called the Av the Sag. We're talking about Sag. Sag represents the ears. You went through that thing where he said the ear gematria and Ozen is gematria 58. And you add on the 5 that you can actually see from it, which is hidden within it in some way, comes to 63. Yotzim Ozen Ak, this is coming out for the ears of Obaperik, the law. Now later on, Yizboyer, let's see, we're in the second paragraph, so okay. Yizboyer Bechinas Atamim V'cham Se'im, the Sag, we're going to talk about that. Shuchachelok Amsoy Shebechinas Av the Sag. Now the Av the Sag has 3 levels, a top, a middle, and a bottom. Shehema Oris Yotzim Mechotin to Ak, where they're going to start talking about lights that come out of the nose of Ak. So he says,
in general, just a question. In general, whenever our Makif and our Pnimi collide, that automatically produces a Keli.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. It's a rule.
Is that because of is there any explanation as to why? Meaning why the combination of Makif and Pnimi produce a Keli?
Well, the only thing that I know for sure is that they produce sparks, and the sparks is the Keli. Okay, so you can see this in our world too. There's a difference between, let's say, man and woman. So they really don't go together 100%, but they do, because they want to. That's just the nature of the way it's built. But if you could put them together, you could create something great.
Right.
Okay, so let's go on, and let's see what happens here. I think, are we in... we're in the light print, I think, on number Aleph. Kavar bi'arnu la'el. So we've already explained up above. Sheba v'chidas tamim, that when we're talking about the tamim, yeshnam shlosh madregos. They are tamim elyonim, tamim emseim, and tamim tachtonim. V'yidach ha'ora sheyantzach b'minaznaim, heim b'chidas tamim elyonim, so the aspect that came out from the ears. They are the aspect of the tamim elyonim, of the upper tamim. The ear is the top of this system called sag. That may be important later on. We're going to see how the ears relate to other things. They're going to come out of the chotem, the ak. That was av the sag is the ears. Nizbarki ozen hugematria noach, or noch. V'im ha'os hey, if you put the letter hey along with it, shetin is gango ba'oras ha'ozen, that is really develops in the ear. Heim olam yachdad sag. So then you see like that. Amla ba'oras ha'chotem, but when we come to the oras ha'chotem, b'zera b'chotach the vadav oda b'gematria sag. But the lower by itself, you make the gematria the word chotem, it comes out to be 63. So when we're talking about sag, that's about the ear. We're talking about the top part, which is going to be the av the sag. Who sag the klalos. So since we're talking about the ear, let me let you know. Like here, this is the tam. It's the top part, and so that means that top also means the panimi part, which means the first part that comes first. He says that actually, if you take the 58 and the 5 that's hidden in it, you have 63. The klal v'shem av shebesag rak nichlal bo kaprat. So the av, or the 5 that we're talking about to build it up, is just part, as a part of it. So number bet. V'gam mikam. I guess we started another parak. Okay. V'gam mikam nimshach v'yotzach or derek shnei nikveh ha'chotim yamin is small. So we also have a right nostril, right left nostril, yamin makif, small panimi. Derek and nizka ba'ozen. This is the same thing we said. Avida mitrikol b'yotzach adachazu shal zeh ha'adam kadmon. Now, in different from the way it came down to the ears, it really, this light of the ears came out, went down to the chin. Over here, this is going to come down to a place which is called the chaza. The chaza shall zeh ha'adam kadmon. Later on, we'll see the word chaza is important. Kashem shabe'oros aznaim yotza or makif Ma'ozin Yamim. So now we have the Makif is coming out of the Ozin Yamim. V'chor b'nimi Ma'ozin small. Kamo Kain Ba'oros HaChotim. So the same thing. When the knife coming out of the nose, Yotzim or Makif b'nekev Chotim Yamim. V'or b'nimi b'nekev Chotim small. V'chavatam Yitzias or Makif b'Yamim. V'chor b'nimi b'small. So this is a rule that he's saying to you and in general, the right side is going to be the stronger side than the left side. But the small, so therefore that's how we understand right and left here. They go down to his chest. Whereas we said that previously that the light of the ears goes down to the chin, more number Gimel. So this is the real source of the light, or the root of the light. So let me read again. V'zehu ikar or amnam meha-oros gam came hu mispashit al sad ha'ach u'misaviv kol svivas adam kadmon. So now it's not just in the front on the face, but also goes around. Ikar ha'aras oros hachotim ad makom b'chazet dezer anpen hu b'tzad eponim daiku, specifically on the front. That is an illumination from those ors achotem. Mispashet gam b'tzad ach. It also goes on to the backside. The ach became b'shnei tzadadev, also goes to the sides. There's a glow around the head besides the intense glow which is in the front. Ba'ofen shu misaviv called tzadadev shal zeh ha'adam kadmon. So the head we see over this way is a glow, but the major part of the light is in the front. So we see they're really much, just like we can see from ourselves, it's really much closer to themselves than the lights from the ears. They're close to each other, but with all of this, they're divided into two, but they still don't go together. B'zachem gam ba'oros elu lo hoyich lechem b'chinas kelim. B'yarne la'el in the first parak, he oros aznaim yatzem meruchochem yotzer zem b'zem, zem etzad yamed upon v'zeh etzad small. B'hina oros achotim yotzer kurovim zeh zeh. They're coming out straight lines. Zem b'zeh yosem yoser ma'oros aznaim. They're closer together than the ear light. And so we say, okay, they're coming but so they have a division between them, that's it. So it's not one opening. Which we're going to see. And so we say, okay, they're coming from two separate openings. So you're not going to have that either because they're not mechubar. Either. So in the lights that are coming there, they're going to still be shining down over to the chazeh, but they're not going to hit each other, and nothing's going to come out of it. Now later,
obviously, there's a difference between this aura and the one from the Eisen, because the Eisen we were more worried that it would, if it gets too close, it's going to be a problem.
Well, this is the same thing here too. It's not ready. The light is not ready to be captured, so this is not the light that's going to be captured.
It's closer, right?
They're closer. It's closer, but still no cigar.
Right.
So
I mean, no. So I'm just saying, it's clearly a lower level than the aura of the Eisen because of the ability to be closer and not make a problem. No, we're not actually to make a problem, but not have bechinas kelim.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Right. Okay.
Number hey, So what's what shot? What do we get out of the eyes of the nose? Remember there was a vav. The hay was made out of a dal and a vav. So that was part of the ozen light. Now this vav nizgala ata. Now you see it revealed in the nose. Previously it was a hay. It means now here you could see two separate letters here. One is a dal and one is a vav. Previously in the o's and all you could see was the hay. Even though we understood that you could take them apart and make it into a 10, and you do, but you don't see it. But over here, so the fact that you say, well, they're in their lower state, they're lower because they're below the tamim mc'im, and they're in a lower place, they're more physical. The horash yitzias or vav l'chutz v'giluyev who sod zer anpin, which we're going to learn about later. Shenizgala b'kan zer anpin is 6 spheros, and so we have the number 6. 6 is a very important part here. Now, Kavar Bi'arnu, so he says like this, we've already explained, Ki chotem hu b'gematria sag. Just straight up. L'umas ozen sharak b'tziros hay ola b'gematria sag. Over there, in the ozen, you have to add the hay onto it to get the sag, but it is sag. And probably the reason why you have to do that is because it's more helam. Because all you really can't see the whole business inside there. You could only see the hay. Is this to show you? Which are very, very closed up. So as you show more and more of the kli, of the light, then this gematria is going to grow. Akadayim sarek bir malku tosefes or sheyesh the bechoda. So what pshat over here in the chod? Yosem Rashecha b'choros ha'ozen. What's special about this that you didn't have in the ozen? V'yinya b'zechabu ki hinei nizboyer la'el. We explained it above. She'es sphere sheyatzach min chaznaim near mazim ba'oz hey. These 10 spheros that are that come out of the eyes, the ears near mazim ba'oz hey. Hakolim oz dal, which has a dal in it, shebesocho oz vav, and then it has a vav too. Vishnechem yaknev ola b'gematria eser. But you have to reason that out. Akadayim osius do, those 2 words dal and vav. Hein behelim besocha hey. That's what he wants to say. It's more obscure. Amnam oros ahotem though lo yatze b'tzuras hey. The lights don't come out in that form. Elaha or hey, os hey, excuse me, shahoisach b'adata os achad behelim. It was previously 1 letter by itself. Everything else in it was hidden. Nisgal sa'ata b'tzurish te osius dalad and vav, because then now you can see them, and they come out to be this word I'm calling it do, which is dalad and vav. Below zu bilvad, not just this. Hello, os vav he gam nechlechas the shisha lofim, but the vav is also could be divided into 6 different olives. Now this part is a part that I don't know where he got this idea that the olives are well, that's what he just says it. He says that what it is. He says you could take the 6, you could divide it into 6 olives. What I meant to say is that why olive? Why not other letters? Because olive means ones, like individual elements. That's what I think is the direction of what he's going, the direction where he's going. As we're going to say as we go farther. Because horos al his galos ayusera sheyeshna be'eser oros ayotzim achot in the ak. Why? Shebetachida be'oros ozen heim koyo ne'olamim od echa be'oz echa belvad. Everything is hidden in 1 letter. V'achshav nizgal yosef bepratos. Amnam oz dalad shebehezu. This dalad in this hu adayim lo nizgal. It still is not nizgalsa. The reason why the vav is the only part that you see, I'm sorry?
Va'os dalad, yeah.
Va'os dalad. מרמזה שארבע הפרצופים דארק אבא ואמא ונוג הם בהלם. They're completely hidden over there. V'oz vav b'mremez shachazah nizgala, but that zah is revealed over here. Ki be'oz vav b'rumazim shisha spheros the zer anpin, because in the vav there are 6 spheros inside of zer anpin. As we said, there are 6 different individual elements. Of Alon Yizbar b'chemshek drash. They're going to see more about this as we go farther. Heik nizgala oros the zer anpin kodesh nizgala or hanuk. So how is it that the light, there is a pattern here?
Zah is second, or second to last.
Zah is second, and it comes before you have this gilui of the eye that's going to go to the nook, which is also called malchus. Shahaba ba'alma, midas anuk, shehir tachtoinim is galis kodem shenis zah. So I don't know what this is. Shahal lamala mimenu. She said, the translation is, Shaharecha ba'alma, the basic idea is that the midah of the nekeva, the female, shehir tachtona, which is at the end really, misgalis kodem shenisgala chazah. You see this before you see zah. So shahu lamala memena, which is up above it. Now that what he's going to talk about this later on, but what he means to say is that when you get into the next shar, which is the shar of akudim, you're going to see that Malchus is going to come out first. And then it's going to go in reverse order. So the Malchus is going to come out first, and then the 6 spheres of Zer Anpin are going to come out, and then etc. like that. So he said, V'amnam, lo na'aseh vav levado. It's just not a vav by itself. Amna levav nechlechas gam came the shisha chalokim. It could be divided into 6. It's not just that it's a vav. The vav itself has 6 parts. Heim shisha alofim, and those 6 parts are called olives. Sheyesh sheish midos, the zer anpin. What does midos mean? So this is describing a little bit the concept of what's in a parts of is that the parts of his exist for the purpose of his matas of the light, to limit down the light. So you do this. This actually is going to happen, or does happen, through going through the 6 midos, which are chesed, gevurah, tiferes, netzach, hod, and yesod. Each one of them is an individual, and as the light passes through it, it changes the light. It's mismayat the light. It makes it possible for the ultimate sphere, which is at the bottom, which is malchus, to be able to be makabel it. But that's later on. Let's read it again. Sheish hamida the zer anpin yotzim enechotim. Einam ne'olamim ba'os achas, which is the vav. It's not really hidden ne'olamos. It's not all hidden in there. Elazu havav. You could take a look at this vav, and you'll find the 6th section. Mischalekas the shisha chalokim. There's 6 sections. Shehem shisha alofim, which are actually 6 olives. So be'ofen sheshisha chabimida the zer anpin mizgalos b'shisha alofim nifradim, so that the 6 parts that we're later going to see are what make up zer anpin. Mizgala b'shisha alofim nifradim, they're actually revealed in the very beginning, coming out of the nose as 6 separate olives. The Handish called Mida Merumezes Ba'os Aleph Pratis B'shisha Alofim Haladu Plulum Toch Os Vav Zu. So all of them are in this Vav. Number Zion.
Just in the structure of the Vav, at the top you have 2 things that are side by side.
Now what does that mean?
Meaning like the Vav is not a straight line. The Vav has a piece in the top, like an extra piece.
We're not talking about that. And even if we were talking about that, it would be one of the parts. So you have a part at the top, and you have other 5 parts, or you could say that actually, and he's going to say this, the Vav is really just a line. There's a little Zion on the end of it. There's a little something on the end of it, but it's at this point, imagine that you had 2 straws coming out of your nose. They're just straight, 100% straight. Okay. That's the form of the letter Vav. So that's what he says. You can divide it into 6. So the reason for this is like this. We talked about them. He doesn't mind telling you over and over. Kanaz and Perik Aleph. What are they? Excuse me, line up like this. They have 5 bechinos. Each one of them has its own bechina. One of the lowest bechina is nefesh, and then ruach, and neshama, chayin, yechida. V'nimsa ki zahu b'chinas ruach k'noida. So this is a little fact that you need to know, and he's been talking about that. Ruach comes out of the nose, because that's where the breathing goes on. And there's a definite continuous flow of flow coming out of the nose. The nose, in the panoply of everything, is called ruach. So therefore, these later on, bechinas nefesh, ruach, neshama, chai, yechida, is also the way that I pronounce it is called narantchi. So this is going to be an element which we will be dealing with. The element is that the light of the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, as it becomes further refracted, as we're seeing is now in the nose coming out, it actually, you can see inside of there the 6 olives. The 6 olives represent the no canal perik olive bechinas nefesh. So these are the 5 partsufim. I'm sorry I said it wrong. They see the 5 partsufim, which are nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaim, yechida, which represent levels of light. V'nimska zer anpin hu bechinas ruach k'noida. Zer anpin is the ruach of the narantchi.
Okay.
So we'll get to that in much more detail in the next shar. So normally, if we are looking from even for where we are or where we're going to see later on in Shar Akudim, is that the Malchus is the first destination. So it comes before anything else. Shar Malchus hi lamata mikol partzufim. In other words, it's closest to us. V'him is gala yosem mikol shar partzufim, and it's going to be more physical. It's going to be more relatable. Min haroish he his gala techila. So it should be that since it's received, it's the first thing to receive itself. Kodeshi is gala zer anpin. Before you see the 6 spheres of zer anpin, shuhu guvoham in the elam yosef b'mena, which is higher, harder to reach. V'chatam mifnei mach and is galsa raka oz vav remez lazaz. So why is the vav the first thing we see at the nose? V'lon is galsa ima gamma oz dalad, which is going to represent the other 4 partsufim, hanimrazim b'shar partsufim, which are erich, abba, ve'ima, v'nuk. And v'var harav ki hine yeshnam chamesh b'chidas and it cries nefesh chayin neshama chayin yechida. Now, well, listen, what his words are. He says there are 5 bechinos. 5 bechinos really refers to the concept of light, or we'll see that sometime later. There are oros. There's a whole concept which is called summon, which is kalim, levushim, slamim, mochim, and oros, and that's going from the most outside part to the most inside part. So the most inside part are these lights. But these lights correspond to different aspects of the midos, and so we'll see how they go. V'hem kenegah chamisha partsufim. So each partsuf, that is the lowest partsuf, which is malchus, would be the partsuf of nefesh. So let's read them again. Yechida keneged erik anpin, which is keser. Chaya keneged abba, which is chochma. The shama keneged ima, which is bina. Ruach kenesh zer anpin, which is also known as chagat nai, which is chesed gevur teferes netzach hod yisod. So, as we know, is that the Kabbalists prefer to refer to this as an acrostic, Chagat Nai. The Nefesh keneged Nuk, the Zer Anpin, and the Nefesh is going to go to the Nuk of a Ger Anpin, also known as Malchus. Nimtzes v'Seder Zer, ki Zer Anpin hu b'bechinas Ruach, so we can understand that Zer Anpin, Malchus is the Nefesh. The next one up on the more panimi to Malchus is going to be Zer Anpin and his 6 spheros. So we have a few minutes still. Omer, it says like a kol asher nishmas ruach chaim ba'apav. Anyone, so this is a pasuk that has this ruach in their nose. Horas ki bechinas ruach mizgala ba'apayim. That's where you see it in the nostrils. Shuhu hachotim. So therefore. So therefore, here's where you find this aspect, which we're going to show. This is the panemius, the very first aspect of glimpsing the origin of Zer Anpin. It's divided into its 6. They call it kitzvos. Kitzvos is like ends or corners. It's hard for me to picture exactly why they say kitzvos, but always that. אבל os הדלת נשארה os אחת מחוברת, but the aleph, excuse me, the dalet, I'm sorry, nishara os achas mechuberes, it still remains as one letter, but it's still joined together. Aval os vav nechlach l'shisha halafim. So where is it joined together? Still back at the ear. So he says, he mishmalos apostles and emer kol l'shen nishmas ruach chaim ba'apav, masha shebechinas ruach mizgala ba'af, Shuhu hachoitim. That's where you see it. Ruach Chaim ba'apav. So you see now Ruach is Lashon Zeranpen. So he said Shuchotim, but the Chaim bechina Zeranpen Shuhu Ruach mizgalim min hachoitim daika. So he says this aspect of Zeranpen, which is the aspect of Ruach, that's where you see it. Or Yotze b'tzuras shtei bechinos shehem daled and vav. So the light comes out in two different aspects. One is a daled, the other one is a vav. Os vav misgala b'choitim is now revealed in the nose. Mischalekas the shisha halafim, as we said, neged shisha hamidus, which are chaganai. Shuhu zer anpin. Zer anpin is the chaganai. Amnam os dalid he os achas. So we see that the dalid is one letter. Bilvad hakolala b'socho dalid bechidos, which has also four different aspects. But it's not divided into four olives, just like that. But it remains hidden back with the lights of the hay. Only later on, the lights that come out of the mouth, the yotzem os dalet mucholakos, the dalet alafim mamash, divided up into four different alafim. Or mischalik the pratos, or the pratim says, as the light becomes more divided up, then it's not going to be ne'elim so much. Ne'elim, it's not so hidden. V'nichlal toch os achad bilvad, it's all inside of one light. Zera b'mora al gilui godol. So if you see it separated, that shows you that there's a greater revelation. So we have a couple of minutes. Let's try to do the next one. So just where he says that we divided up the vav, which is in the right nostril, smolek. V'sak kulam, of course, is yud beis alafim. V'im achotim atzmo, added into the chotim itself, hare yud gimel kaminyan vav aleph vav, and that's the word letter vav again, written like that.
Right.
Now later on, we're going to see that the name Ma, which we saw before, which is Yud Vav Dalet Ke Aleph Vav Aleph Vav Ke Aleph, also refers to Zer Anpin, and it goes along with that 6, and you see this is called a Milui Vav Aleph Vav, the Milui of Alafim. And we'll see that again. For Sachotim, Yatzach Be'orcha Make Benechem Yamim, for Benime Benechem Small, Kashem Shahoya Be'oras Ozen, same thing there, you had a right, left. Kashem oros shaos vav shabachotim yamim is chalekes the shisha halafim. Kain os vav, which is on the second, the left side, shabetzad is smoli. This chalekes af he the shisha halafim. So this is also divided into 6 halachim. Benimsa the fizeh sheyeshnem bechotim yud beis alafim. Shehem alafim b'tzad yamin v'shisha alafim. I guess it's sheish alafim b'tzad yamin v'shisha alafim b'tzad small. V'mosif os od aleph. You bring another aleph. Acha keneged the chotim atzma. 1 corresponding to the chotim itself. Nimsasak kulim yud gimel alafim. You're going to see 13 there. Now later on we understand that there's 13 midas of rachamim. Maybe this has to do with that. It's also the gematria of the word echad. Vahu kiminyan vav. This is like the minyan of vav aleph vav. This is another way to spell the vav, and this is actually the way you do spell the vav with zeranpin. Shol the gematria yud gimel, and that's where he teaches it. The gemon yisbarish os vav. This love zoom a remez the shem saga kolo, which is also a remez to the concept of sag. I'm not sure how over here. We're going to see that later on. So he said. Now let's see, we have, you have time to do one more, or no, that's it?
Yeah.
Okay, number Yud. So you have these 2 straws, let's say they're in the form of a vav. Ima chotim atzmo added up with the chotim itself. Shetzarasa aleph, which also has the surah of an olive. Kishnei nikve hachotim heim shnei yudin. So it's the top we say like this. Later on we'll see maybe in other places that the dot, what we call the dot, which is like a hirik, let's say, or any dot, 3 dots in the segel, could also be considered to be in the form of a yud, and so there are 2 tens here. Then you have the kosel that mapsik, which interrupts the 2 sides, b'neihem, hut suras vav. So now you have this is with the tzura, it looks like an aleph like this, with a yud in the top and a yud in the bottom and a vav in the middle. It's a gematria 26. There you got it right there. Romez nosif ala or hayotzem in a chodim shetzarasa gatzuras vav ala vav. V'huki shtea osios vav elu shenisgalsa b'chodim. Im achodim itself and take those atzmo shuhud suras aleph. Az heim b'shlimim sheyihya vav aleph vav shuhu kaminyan yud gimel. They make that work. V'chatam. Now I'm not sure what he did here, so let's see. V'chatam shahachodim hu tsuras aleph. Now he wants to say why is it in the form of an aleph? Ki kol oz aleph. Morkeves ba'oz yud lamala va'oz yud lamata va'oz vav umede b'nehem kakav natui, like a plant that I guess it's a line stuck in the ground. The mokain shnei nikve hachodim. So since same idea, these 2 openings of the nose of the nikve hachodim shemisham yotzem oras hachodim abakifa b'menimim hemen ramazin the shnei yudim. They're really a reference to the shnei yudim shebaoz aleph. Kavan shakol nekev b'chotim tzuras tzuraso tzuras yud. Yud is really like in a lot of places it's the dot. That's what I said before. And between these 2 openings, there's a wall between them. Shetzaraso os vav, that has a wall, a sign of a vav. So therefore, you could take this aleph. And that makes the form of the aleph. I guess he says a yud above, yud down below, and a yud and a vav in the middle. Kasher nitzaref aleichem as shnei havavim ayotzechem b'shnechem become nikve chotim. So you take them and you have now chotim shehem yud beis alafim, which is 12 alafim. Hare heim olim yachad communion vav aleph vav. That's the vav. He described the aleph that's in it, that's made out of the nose, the nostrils of the nose, and also the bridge of the nose. This is going to come out to be vav ala vav gematria yud gimel. The whole thing put together comes out to the gematria of yud gimel.
Fascinating.
Wow. Okay, so this is where this is going. You have time to do more. I can keep. I have more time too.
No, I don't have more time today. But
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, my pleasure.
Just gonna next week regular time.
Okay, cool.
I think I'll let you know if it changes.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
I feel kind of